Hello everybody, critical update. I erred in the changes from Senate. I did not read the Senate changes. The 160 isn't there, it's 150 or combined couple income of 300,000 upwards, but it doesn't matter because a single payer claiming with a spouse who's at home will get the full now 25,000 maximum tax-free overtime. So that 30,000 no longer exists. Senate reduced it to 25,000 claimed as a couple, which means common law or what have you for all working Americans. Individuals can only go up to 12,500. Still massive, still substantial. 10 years, $125,000 USD, or well over 175,000 Canadian. And of course, if you're with a partner that you have at home, well, you go out and work the overtime because you want to have children. Think of this, Canadians. You can have a spouse now who doesn't work, and you can turn over $25,000 tax-free overtime every year, making up for that shortfall of income. Still huge, still beautiful, still massive money. 250,000 instead of 300,000 in 10 years. It's massive. It's massive. No Canadian can comprehend that when you convert that from USD to Canadian. That would be well over 300 and I think about $9,000. Incredible amount of money. More on tips. Tips doesn't matter. You get 25,000 maximum claimable. Social Security, it's not all encompassing. It's only up to $2,000 a month old age security. Now, there are no Canadians in Canada, relatively hardly any. They would have to be working well past retirement age, starting at 18, and basically I still don't even think you can get there in Canada. Maybe you can. I know I'm very close to the maximum, and that doesn't exceed $1,800. So for Americans, already that shows you in USD, Americans at 2,000 single old age security, couple 4,000 a month tax free. 2,000 single, 4,000. This encompasses 88% of going to be retired Americans. There is another 12% who have exceeded $2,000 a month old age security. The average, in fact, is $2,100. So there are Americans who will be paying tax on $100 a month. That's it. That's it. Amazing. And of course, people with private pension plans on top of old age security will have to still pay taxes over and above and beyond their old age security. But still a tremendous amount of money in Americans' pockets that far exceeds anything available in Canada. In fact, no Canadian can even match that 2,000 because CPP 1 and 2 won't let you get there. Won't let you get there. Americans watching this, the average Canadian right now in Canada, $808, working their entire life from 18 all the way to 65 in their incomes. The average is $808 a month CPP. They have to rely on a welfare that we call like your old age your Social Security. We call it old age security. It's basically government welfare top up, and even people who've never worked their whole lives get that at 67, bleeding from working Canadians. That's socialism runaway. We've created two-tier CPP, and basically now the second two-tier CPP will be taxed straight out of those Canadians anyway. Nothing like the American model. In Canada, the harder you work, the more you lose. The harder you work, the more you lose. At least as a working person. This doesn't exist for business people. Canada tax shelters, unlike the United States, who actually taxes businesses at a much, much higher rate overall, plus the demands on businesses in the United States for their employees far outpace Canada. Canada is like a scabby country to the United States of America. Obviously, Mexico is too. It's why we get the name Snow Mexican. Canadians may wake up to this, they may not. Yes, the big beautiful bill ended up, after Senate not being all-encompassing of what Donald J. Trump wanted, but it's hardly a kick in the pants. It's still massive. It's still a holy grail of the Western world, and there's no country like it on this earth that gives so much back to working folks and people who work their whole lives to get retired. There's nothing like it in the entire world. It is the one big, beautiful bill for all Americans. I would love to be under it. Even still, as I make these corrections, I apologize. I should have read the Senate amendments. I apologize for that. I was running with the House bill that was 160, and of course there was partners too, but you could get up to that 30,000 USD, and I apologize for that, everybody. That's why you should always read. I should have took the time yesterday. There's no excuse for that. That's my bad. But still, no matter what, 25,000 overtime or 30,000, yeah, I'd like the 30, but 25,000 is unbelievable, unmeasurable, and that's USD. So everybody look at that. Look at that for retired. I faltered for retired Social Security America because I know the average $2,100, and no, there will be a tax on that $100 over. I mean, it's minute, right? We're talking $25. So I erred in $25, and I erred in $5,000 for Americans. I apologize for that and my narrative to Canadians. It's still money. It's still an error, and I made that mistake because I did not read the Senate changes, and I'm bad for that. So I apologize to everybody, but it's still monumental. It's still huge. Tips, again, are 25,000, not 30. So I apologize for that. But it's huge. Now, I want to hit something major that people are trying to share about conservative greatness in Canada. And this is Donald J. Trump's truth. Inflation markers should be 0%. This was the gold standard. That's what it did. No inflation, zero inflation. Donald J. Trump says, I am driving this country to zero inflation. That's my goal. He doesn't have the Federal Reserve. There's a bank CEO there, just like Canada's Lord of the Treasury. And ours says 2%. They never make it. They go way over. They up interest rates, lower interest rates. They don't follow the 2%, even though conservatives will tell you, you should follow 2%. We shouldn't have any inflation at all. Your government shouldn't be devaluating you at all. Donald J. Trump's 100% right about that. And I'm going to tell you, Canadians, something. Regardless of trade deals or whatever promises, godly inflationary promises that Mark Carney's promising to you, like 5% NATO commitment, that's equal to a 5% tax. That's equal to 5% inflation for all of you, the lowly degenerate subjects and savages defined in Canada. Not my words, your Constitution and the Indian Act of Canada and your government's narrative and their legislation, your politicians. When they tell you 2%, but Mark Carney has shot us probably past 6 this year alone. I know full well we are already at 6% inflation, and the government hasn't produced anything but promises. But you will see, because there is no budget, that they have increased our inflation 6% or devalued us 6%. And now they could change all that with increasing taxes 6%. Do you think they'll get the rich companies, the crown chartered companies? No, they'll get all of you. So when the government says, a conservative skeptical, they got to make a 2% inflationary marker. Why? Who says that? Who says that but not another piece of shit? Another piece of shit who says, at minimum, we are going to devalue you 2% and your children and your grandchildren this year alone. I'm the fucking government and I hate your fucking guts. That's what they're saying. And I'm sorry to say those words, but that's the truth. And the one beautiful thing beyond the one big beautiful bill, among that it hyper evaluates Americans, meaning it curbs government inflation. He reduced inflation for a hell of a lot of Americans today. And this will be rolled out and stamped on America's birthday tomorrow, July 4th. That Donald J. Trump reversed inflation on America's birthday for this year, the year after that, and the year after that, and all the way until the expiry date of his office. At least we know that. And to change it will require everybody a majority House and Senate by any incoming government. And I don't see that happening. Think about this, Canadians, when a conservative, so they tell you, a conservative government tells you, we should have at minimum a 2% inflation. That's saying we should at minimum devalue all Canadians by 2% a year. At minimum. That's what they're saying. They're saying, I fucking hate you, I'm going to kill you. That's what they're saying. And they've been doing this for decades and decades. And we stupidly eat that in the face of a beautiful human being, President Donald J. Trump, who just evaluated all Americans, a majority of Americans, average everyday Joe James said, you're worth more tomorrow, this whole year. And by April 15th, 2026, when they all go file their taxes, all those seniors, 56 million, another 87 million working Americans. That's half the fucking country of the United States. More than half is going to see the rich rewards April 15th, 2026. Do you think they're ever going to say a bad thing? Or how do you think midterms are going to go? Or do you ever think they're going to ever think about Canada and the 51st state or any of that? No. They're just saying, oh, we like the External Revenue Agency. We like tariffs in all these shitty ass countries. Hammer them. We have purchasing power. We'll build it here. We have the money. Thank you. God bless you, Donald J. Trump. Can you imagine the couple that washes dishes every night working at a Walmart, one at a Wendy's, and now at the end of the year, these two can work some overtime, buy that dishwasher they've been talking about for the last 3 years. They can leave the apartment they live in. They can plan over the next 4 years to come up with a down payment on a $150,000 condominium that they own. They can do that. That now, like, people don't even think about things that are going to change here. All of a sudden, your disposable income goes up in a family $25,000, or at least a couple, or $12,500 any Joe Jane out there. And all of a sudden, that's a down payment on upwards of what? When you look at down payment minimum percentages, multiplied by 4, that gets people into $200,000 to $400,000 homes that they weren't eligible before. That allows them to finance a car that they were never eligible before. All kinds of things. We haven't even scratched the surface here of what's going to happen post-April 15th, 2026 in the United States of America. The economy is going to go kaboom. Donald J. Trump's been trying to tell everybody this. I've been watching this unfold. Nobody knew it'd get through. It was sketchy. 51-50, basically Vice President and Senate. Almost didn't happen. And then a good showing in Congress, but still pretty close by 4. But it went through, and it's going to be there for a very, very long time. Even if he was to lose midterms, but I don't think so. I think Americans, tax filers, April 15th, 2026, you've got a majority Republican government in midterms, and you will go on the 2 years like that. In Canada, you're going to wake up because you're going to be watching all these posts. You're going to see Americans doing holidays, Americans buying beautiful homes, Americans buying new vehicles, while yours are breaking down, while you're driving shit boxes, while you're stressed about the furnace, stressed about the hot water tank, the dishwasher, the washer and dryer, or how you're going to feed your family, or the college tuition, all these things that aren't going to be an American problem next year. You see Americans going on trips all over the States doing stuff. I hope they don't waste their money on the shitball countries. That's all I have to say. This is my video. It's important to share. And remember this. Donald J. Trump has reversed inflation through government tax credits to the American people. And in fact, not only stopped inflation, reversed it by a sizable amount for a mass majority of Americans. And in Canada, the Conservative tells you, oh, you need to eat a 2% inflation because you're a fucking piece of shit and I hate your lowly guts. I hope you and your children die and I hope your grandchildren suffer year after year and have fuck all. That's the Conservative. You don't even want to know what my rendition of Mark Carney would be because it's blatant murder, genocide, homicide. That's my video. Share, share, share. Don't listen to the folks that say they deserve to sit on their fat ass and somebody else should work and pay for them. That's a garbage human being. And there's been a few of those posts on my media. God bless everybody. Share, share, share. Get it out there. Bye now.